An urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How are you?
You know me, man. Just another day in paradise.
Happy Monday.
Yes. Glad to be back.
And also, yeah, we were on our, what was it, 2-week vacation we took?
We'll call it that.
Yeah, we'll call it that. Yeah, yeah. How was Turks and Caicos?
It was slightly breezy and mildly sunny.
Okay. All right. Yeah. The girls at the Hideaway Bar in Fiji say hello, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah,
Been a minute since I've been there.
Yes. So, oh God, oh my goodness. I need to. I was looking at social media, and there's two things I wanted to talk to you about.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Besides, I coughed this coronavirus out of my chest. One thing was I was checking out your social. I love your social media. You do a fabulous job, by the way.
Thank you.
One thing is, obviously, all during Shark Week, you had the Shark Week theme. Did you not?
Yeah, you like that, right?
I love that. That's the first thing, because Shark Week is like, it's going crazy here. I think it's like Shark Month on some of these channels. But I particularly had to say and stop and say, dude, I love the Shark Week.
Yeah.
I love that. That was the coolest thing in the world. So that was, yeah.
Well, there's a little bit of a background to that, or a backstory to that. So one of my other DJ buddies, Mike Tech, shout out to him. He had this little mascot of like this bear, this like cartoon bear, and I just always thought that was the coolest thing. And like, man, I need to get me a well, look at Paul saying hi to you guys. I mean, we haven't even brought Nick on the show yet, and like, he's already saying hi to you and Nick, and I'm like cottage cheese over here, man. That's all right. No worries. I still love you, Paul.
Paul's a good guy. Paul, let me introduce you, Paul, to Mr. David. Mr. David, there you go. This is Mr. Paul.
I'm just clowning. But yeah, so Mike, you see how quickly I get distracted like a squirrel. So Mike, my buddy Mike has this like mascot. It's like this little bear, right? And I was like, man, I need to do something like that. So I was like, what animal do I like? And then the other Nick, who's on my other podcast with me, he's like, you should get a shark, because you always talk about sharks and all of that stuff, right?
Cool.
So I went to Mike, my buddy Mike, and I said, where'd you get that mascot made? And he connected me with a girl who made it. And then I asked her to make me one of a shark. And then I've been sitting on it for a little while, like, okay, when can I like put this thing out in the universe and out in the world? And then I was like, oh yeah, Shark Week is coming up. I was reminded of that, and I'm like, perfect. I'll just do it during Shark Week. So there you go.
I think that's awesome. The second thing, and I might, I'm still thinking about doing it. I'm like, because I don't necessarily know if I want people to know exactly where I'm going to be in certain parties. Because believe it or not, I'll have some weird party crashers come along with like, I thought I could just come by to Janet's Sweet 16. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I saw that, and you do that. A lot of guys that I know and I follow do it, and you do it really nice, very professional, really classy. And I'm thinking, maybe I should be doing this. Once a month, you put up a schedule.
Yeah, and it usually ends up changing as soon as I put it up. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's a rough guesstimate of what my schedule should be like, and you know, at that point, it's just so. Interestingly enough, to your point, I used to have like the last names of the couple, and like if it was a wedding, like Smith and Johnson wedding or something like that. And then I was like, yeah, that would be really easy for somebody who's halfway knowledgeable to maybe decipher down what this might be. So I just changed it to the first names, like, you know, Tom and Jennifer's wedding, and then just the city. Like I don't even put the venue location anymore, you know, just the city.
That's why I said, you know, and it's kind of like a, you know, a professional courtesy. I'm like, hey man, do you mind if I like almost copy what you're doing? I really liked it.
It's not my original thing, and I would encourage anybody to do. I mean, number one, obviously it shows people that you're working, you know what I'm saying? Right. It shows potential clients that maybe come look at your social media feed that you are working and you are doing events. I include the podcast and stuff like that on there as well, just because I want people to know, like, I do more than just DJ. I do podcasts and other things, right? So And I get a lot of people say stuff about it all the time. The hardest, I'll be honest with you, man, the hardest part for me is trying to figure out what picture to put behind it. That is the most difficult choice for me.
It's believe it or not, the funny, I do this AV gig at one of the clubs in town, Vesper, and I kind of back up, certain DJs, and it's like, now I'm taking the lion's share of the work because it just happens to all be perfect. Everything's perfectly aligning after coronavirus, like everything. Thank God, knock on wood. But it's like in some cases it's my triple. Now, mind you, I'm sleeping till noon the next day because I'm getting done there, at 2 a.m. in the middle of the city. But it's the perfect, it's the perfect end to a beautiful weekend,
Right.
And that's extras on Friday and Saturday, whether I have gigs or not. But it's also too, there's a bunch of people that follow or come out and they hang out. They're like, hey, where are you going to be? Are you going to be here? Are you going to be there? They want to know where I'm going to be, especially with In the Queue podcast, as long as we're not going to take a vacation.
Right. Yeah.
See, that's how many people. I'm surprised.
The last 2 days the last 2 weeks were probably on my schedule, and like people like, well, this is what I do. Like people like Braden will be texting me and be like, "Yo, dude, are you guys going to be on the show tonight or what?" Which I love that. So
I get the same thing from Andrew. Hey, Andrew, I see you, buddy. I always see you. Yeah, no, I actually texted Andrew tonight. There's certain folks, that are my peoples that I will personally text them and say, hey, the podcast is coming on tonight. Want you to join, want you to come in, and, for those that are hanging out or somewhere, don't just hang out and watch on the page, or please come in, click so that you can chat and you can say hello and we can see that you're in the house.
We love y'all's comments. We enjoy talking to each other, but I think we enjoy talking to you guys more than talking to each other. I mean, that's what really kind of makes it fun. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, totally. And look, while we're there, don't forget to subscribe, whatever channel you're on, subscribe, share, please. The biggest thing you can do, guys, especially Andrew, thank you. You always do this. And a lot of people out there, please share whatever form it's on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. I call you guys the live studio audience, on Facebook and YouTube.
Look at this, man. Like almost like clockwork, like clockwork. You know what I mean? I love that.
Braden, missed you, Braden. We missed you too, pal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
well,
and thanks to all.
I'll be back a little later. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, and thanks to all our regulars, and hopefully Paul will be another regular here because Paul is one of those students that goes from way back. We've been working way back, and he's always looking to learn things and do things as long as he's got some time. So now that he's found his way to us and in it. It can be like it's like a weekly thing. It's almost like a meeting that you go to, Paul. And who coined that? Vince coined that, and he basically said, "Hey, man, you're one of my support groups. I appreciate this. This is for
no, you got to have them, man. You know what I mean?
We are an entertainers, support group, and I get it. I totally get it.
I think we should change. We should change it to DJA for DJs Anonymous, and just like we could just be like a DJA podcast,
Well, and as our next guest can say, we used to have it was myself, our next guest, and a gentleman named Jay, and we helped run the company, The Pros, for a while, and we would have what's called a poor DJ's dinner at the Atlantic City Expo, and we'd have it at the Irish Pub. I got to know the people there, the owners. At the Irish Pub, they gave us the whole back room and they would rent it out for free. So we said, hey, look, we'll bring about 20, 30 guys, but they're all going to be buying, food and beer. And lo and behold, we were doing it for the longest time. They built a bar in the back, 5 years into it. And this place is gorgeous now. And we stopped going. And look, the only reason we stopped going, no offense to them, it was beautiful, is because the last year we did it, that was the year the Senate Boys came out. We actually filled the back. It got a little bit too packed. And there was a lot of people that came out, probably over 60, 70 people. And it evolved to the point where we said, you know what, might as well just hang out at the Senate House from now on. And have
that makes sense.
Party. But anyway, I can forte into, our guest, unless you want to, chat about anything else that's going on. I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, a few people are bringing up the expo. I know you're going to be at the expo this year.
Yeah. Well, here, here's the last like news of it. If you didn't register by July 15th, July something for the floor tickets, you're done. So that's passed. And now you have to register, I think it's by August 9th, to at least get $25 floor passes. And one of the guys, I think it's Brian. I think Brian's in the house tonight watching our studio audience. I think Brian tried, and there was a problem with the website. Unfortunately, I was busy. Two, I don't work for DJ Times. And they haven't even responded to me about my seminar. So the hell with them. No, I was just
really feel, man.
I was just really busy. And just like, I know they are, but it was just it was a thing. And to be honest with you, he's one of those guys that if he's there and he needs to, I'll take the what is it, $85 at the door. I'll take it out of my pocket just to pay for this guy because he's found. You know what I'm saying?
You're a gentleman and a scholar, my friend.
He's good people, and he knows it. So, but yeah, no, it's still on. There's a lot of question of who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. Look, just like every year, it's a party. So it's about networking. It doesn't matter who's going to be there or who's not, unless you're looking for equipment or you're looking for certain things. Yeah. What I'm looking for is networking with other DJs, and that's the place to do it. And the place to really do it is if you're not on the floor, is sometimes after hours at these events. So,
yep.
And
I think it's going to be really good. That's always a big event. And I apologize. I can't make it this year, but hopefully, Lord willing, I'll be able to be there next year. And, we'll see how it goes. I am, hope you don't mind me promoting this just a hair there, my good friend Greggy C. I am putting together, in January of 2022, I am putting together a personal and professional development,
really
very intimate, like 15-person event in Florida. So putting that together right now, very specifically for people who I always feel like, at the end of the day, if you really are passionate about DJing or whatever it is, I mean, obviously our show is about DJing, but you could be a photographer, you could be a videographer, you could be a wedding planner. It doesn't matter. Like if you're passionate about doing that, then you're going to continue to push yourself to get better and elevate yourself at that. And a lot of people in our industry do that. And on a side note, I really think if that's what you're really passionate about, you should really focus and concentrate on that. And I think our guest tonight is going to talk about this a little bit as well. Yeah. And then align yourself with somebody who can handle all the business stuff for you and can run the business so you can DJ.
Good point. And that's a good point where we can utilize this guest and talk to him about, look, taking our ideas and our dreams to the next level. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Or anybody within our family or network that needs the help, he can show you how it can be cost advantage to you, etc. Obviously, he's a businessman. He knows all about this industry and can get, I think one of his things is a cost analysis. I got to look over the sheet here before I announce it and do. I think he's giving away a call. Hold on, let me look it real quick.
You do that. I'll wrap it up real quick. Like I say, we're putting it on. It's really kind of an intimate, intense 3-day event, and it's going to be diving into your business and really helping you kind of realizing the pitfalls, really kind of figuring out, exactly where you need to focus on, making your business grow. So if that's something that anybody's interested in, reach out to me. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Braden said, are you going on the We DJ 2022-2023 cruise? Braden, I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. I mean, I'd love to talk to them about it. So if maybe, who knows?
I'm allergic to cruises. No, actually, I went on one long time ago.
I'll go on cruises all day long, man. I've had the most fun ever. And with Braden's dad, Kevin, Braden was at the last one too, actually. He was on the last one that we were at. Okay. We always have a blast on those things, man.
I see them each year. They're the carnival people or they're advertising at the expo. I said, I should go on the one of them, but long story. Yeah. All right, enough about me. I'll continue to keep talking about it.
What's
it called? What is it called? So I know. What is it called?
It's called WBG Retreat. Technically,
Nice.
WBG Winter Retreat.
Nice. That's what I want. All right. Now we got it branded. Now we've branded it officially at WBG Winter Retreat. And you're looking for it once again sometime when? Just to repeat it.
It is going to be January the 24th through the 27th.
January the 24th to 27th.
Yep. And it's going to be in Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Jacksonville Beach, Florida. This way, for all our subscribers on all the major podcast networks, Spotify, Anchor, Google Play, and Apple. This way they know. All right.
Yep.
You can even hit rewind on any of any of these networks and check it out. This is something cool. This is that if I could get down there, if I were closer, I would jump right in and patronize a brother,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And here's the thing for me, dude. Like we wanted to make it small. That's why we're only doing it with 15 people. And we wanted it to be with people who are really entrepreneurs, not necessarily DJs, but really entrepreneurs about building their business.
Okay.
And that's who the focus is for this one.
Right.
Yeah. So it should be fun. It's not going to be all business. It's going to be some fun too. You guys know me well enough to know I can't just be all business all the time.
Speaking about all business, our next guest, if there's a reason we have him on the show, because what a perfect match that he's going to make all business, for our hopefully our listeners. And I'd like to say yes. Is it a majority of us DJs? Yeah, but I think a portion or a pinch are entertainers, in a different way, whether they're in a band or there's some type of entertainers on the road, looking to take it to the next level, as we like to say at the school. But regardless, this guy, we hooked up years ago with the pros. He was a DJ, brought him into management. If I'm not mistaken, and he can tell the story as he's listening in the green room, I think he transferred to a different branch for a while. Then he fell in love. He got married, and I don't know if he moved to Alabama. But yeah, I performed his ceremony and I DJ'd for him. It was I think maybe he was the first duel I've done, because I've done a lot of duels now where I'm your officiant and I'm your disc jockey. It blows people away because I'm so awesome. But he was probably the first one I did down there. But then he moved off to California. But then he owned and ran the Holman Ranch, and I think that is still in California or maybe Nevada. Once again, Nick, take notes. And you'll let us know where the Holman Ranch was. And I'm sorry, I'm a bad friend. I don't know this. Probably because I've never been out there. Oh my God, I'm a bad guy. But anyway, he ran this, and the reason I say this and the reason I mean it is because he ran not only entertainment through this thing, but as catering. And Nick, if you look Nick up, he's a professionally trained chef. I mean,
wow.
This man, wow. Besides being a fabulous DJ and oh my God, do you ever see the movie Sing? Like, I have kids or I have a kid and we were watching Sing.
You sure? I mean,
and there's this
that's a big difference, man. Kids with an S and kid without.
I think he's a bear. If I'm not mistaken, there's this big animal on Sing. Big, huge. But I think it's a bear, and I'm not, and correct me on this if I'm wrong, but this bear has this angelic like voice that can sing anything, and like, whoa, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna win, or he's gonna win America's Got Talent or whatever. I swear to God, Nick and I used to go out and do karaoke because we would do it, but we were pretty damn good. And it wasn't the alcohol that was talking, but Nick, oh my God, he blew me away by tenfold with his voice. So, oh God, I have story. Like I said, if we had a back end story of all about In the Queue and the people, he would be on the show to talk about me. But
Well,
anyway,
I gotta be honest though, I don't remember the last time we kissed a member's ass so much, or that was joining us before he ever got on here. But this I'm loving it. I'm taking notes on how to do this down the road.
Taking notes on how to do this. Look, I'm good at that. I'm good at blowing smoke and kissing ass. You could, yeah. Well, I think we did that with Keith Shockley.
Yeah, we probably did. You're right. It's like Keith Shockley, Nick, and then everybody else. Yeah. Sorry if you're watching and you're a past guest, but yeah, that's kind of the pecking order. Which, by the way, speaking of Keith Shockley, I just talked to him on Instagram the other day because I kind of busted his balls a little bit. I was like, how is it that you're following Greg, you're following the show, you're following like 3 or 4 of the past guests on the show, and you're not following me on Instagram? I'm a little disappointed. What did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? Did I wear the wrong cologne, Keith? Like, what did I do? And he kind of sent me a few interesting emojis back and told me, I got you, bro. I got you.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, he's great people, man.
Hopefully I'll see him down at the expo. But back to business, and as I digress, our first guest who look, why have I been kissing his ass? Because I married the guy, and he was in the beginning. This was years ago. He wasn't the reason I got ordained, but it was the reason I did it was for friends that I'd grown up with and I'd loved and I've done through the industry. But we parted, like I said, when he went out to California to do all of this, and he and Brooke, his lovely wife, have created a beautiful family and beautiful businesses for themselves. And now what he's doing is just it's. In other words, it's like spreading the wealth. It's like showing others. You know, if you're going to succeed and know what you're doing and how you're doing it, then why not just not keep it to yourself? Why not spread it out to others? You know what I'm saying? Make it a business. So
we got a little discrepancy. We got a little discrepancy from the animal you were talking about earlier. It's apparently
there was. I think he was a gorilla. As a matter of fact, it was a younger guy. He had a baseball cap on, but he had this cool voice. My point is, Nick can do anything and everything, and that's basically my point. So, you know, this whole business management technology that he talks about, he's going to be talking about, and we're going to be asking him some questions. I believe that you know, Nick excels in anything that he puts his mind to. So anyway, Nick,
let's bring him in. Look, let's bring him in. I mean, he's already got like 50 questions to answer from your monologue there before he even says anything.
Bring him in while I talk. So Nick is a virtual business manager with 25 years specializing in hospitality and entertainment, with experience in office management, DJing, hotel and restaurant management, and as a chef, thank you very much, the culinary arts. He has also taken those years of expertise along with his wife, Hunter Brooke. They have opened Tortoise and the Bear. I'll repeat that. They have opened Tortoise and the Bear, a virtual business solutions company. They specialize in business administration, business management, and technology services. Nick and Hunter work with entrepreneurs who need to concentrate less on running their business and more time doing what they love to do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Nick.
Nick, how are you?
You got me blushing over here, Greggy. Thanks for the great intro.
No. Thank you. Look, I wanted to give everybody the background on who you are and what you do here. So
I appreciate it, old friend. Thank you.
And I'm quite interested in this as well. So look, why don't we
hold on before we dive in, just real quick before we dive in. Of all of that monologue that he gave, Nick, how much of it was right and how much of it was sort of right?
He was pretty spot on. Yeah, absolutely. Except being successful at everything I've ever done. I can't say that's true.
You know what? Yeah, we did try archery once a long time ago, and the poor instructor is still recovering to this day.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, what's funny is we don't drink tequila and do archery. You should.
You should. It's in the handbook, by the way. It is in the handbook.
Yeah, and I've always, you've always known the reason that I'm banned at the Atlantic City Hilton is because of Nick. You know, it's a long story. It was a long time ago, about 10 years ago, and what happens in Atlantic City stays in Atlantic City. But yeah, You know,
Should
Nick
have
and I
left the
had
livestock at home.
right. We had a hangover type moment, right? Nick is the guy that can say, like, you know, one night we wake up after a night of partying and there's a chicken in our kitchen or something. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Anyway, Nick, talk to us about how you evolved in this. So we started off with the entertainment and the hospitality. Where was the Holman Ranch? Was that in California?
Yes. Carmel Valley, California, which is not too far from Monterey. Just off the coast.
What did you do there, and what did the whole place encompass? So first of all, you ran the place, correct?
Hunter, Brooke, and I ran the company. I was more on the operations side of the business, and she was more of the CEO, so dealing with the financials and all that stuff. It's a historic ranch, opened in 1928 as an event venue. Our family bought the ranch in 2006, and we did weddings and special events, catering. We had rooms on property as well. We also made wine and olive oil on the property. So it was a pretty intricate operation.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were director of operations, basically.
Correct.
Now here's the thing. I've had your meals. You are a phenomenal cook. Were you that guy? Could you walk into the thing and do that if you wanted? If you wanted, I guess you could, but you didn't.
So I took a short hiatus from working at the ranch and went to do something very similar to what I'm doing now, is lending my business expertise to a friend's company
nice.
That was a caterer. So went in and basically took over operations for that company, and took them from here to here, streamlining their services, streamlining their systems, bringing in technology, where appropriate, things like that. So, basically taking this very old school business and bringing it into the 21st century.
What? That sounds very familiar.
Exactly right.
To what I kind of was just doing with another company. And I know exactly what you did it and how you did. You probably did it all out of love. Because
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you are one of the most awesome guys that I know, in business and personally and professionally, every way. But no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, I don't want to. I don't need another business. I don't want to make a business out of that, and I don't want to compete with one of my best friends out there. Can't do that. But so, in other words, if I'm a person and I'm a guy, and all of a sudden coronavirus, now I'm a DJ, and my business is starting to take off, and it's really starting to take off to the fact of I need help with, and I can just say right here, A, social media.
Yep.
Okay. B, kind of a day-to-day management of the whole thing, because now I kind of have Joey down the block. He's DJing for me. I've got now a band, right. My sister-in-law's ex-brother's friend has a band, and actually they're pretty good. And they'll do, small little things, duo. One of them's a harpist, and to manage all of that. I mean, is this something that you guys could work out with our peeps?
100%. So we, the company Tortoise and the Bear, is really dedicated to dealing with the administrative side of your business. Okay. You guys really eloquently put it earlier that an entertainer or a creative person, really should concentrate on that side of their business, because that's what they're good at, number one, and that's what they love to do, number two. So if you're dealing with scheduling, and you're dealing with social media posting, and you're dealing with website design, and you're dealing with financials, all of that stuff, every time you waste a minute on one of those things, you're not doing the thing that you love to do. And that's where someone like me comes in, is either giving you guidance on those things in more of a consultant type thing, or actually doing it for you. Which is where the online business management comes in. With today's technology, everything's online, and if I can't get you on a piece of software, I'll just take over your computer. Either way, it can easily be done remotely. I'm in San Diego, California, but we've got clients in Canada, we've got clients here in California, and everywhere in between.
Fabulous. Now, here's another question. It just came to mind. Is there sales or any type of sales involved in this that you guys can help with, or is that a different package or something in the future, or just I don't know.
Sure, great question. We have not necessarily incorporated a sales piece to our business just yet, other than what we're doing for ourselves. But one of the things that we do as part of that administrative side of the business is talk about, I don't know if anyone is familiar with the word or the acronym KPI. It's key performance indicators, and basically it's goal setting when it comes to sales. So we can talk a lot about goal setting and whether you're hitting those goals or you're not hitting those goals. What can you be doing differently to hit those goals, and so on. So that is parts of it. But I definitely plan on launching more of a sales thing in 2022.
Basically it's management, the day-to-day of a growing business, right? Okay. Correct. I get it. No, yeah, for all creatives and entertainers, basically.
Yep.
And so I could be a hypnotist, or I could be a balloon artist, or I could be whatever, and I'm just I'm not good with that stuff. I need to be out there learning and in classes. Okay. So who are some people that you work with, Nick? That's a great question Braden has.
So right now in our company, we really are just launching the hospitality or the entertainment side of our business. Thus far, we've been dealing almost exclusively with coaches. Coaching coaches and doing business with coaches and for coaches and so on. I'd love to say, oh yeah, Will Smith is a client, or something like that. He's not yet. Anyway, but what I'm trying to do is take my business experience as well as my experience in entertainment and hospitality and kind of merge those together. So, and within the companies, we're mostly dealing with entrepreneurs. So dealing directly with the owners of the company.
Okay. All right. Dave.
Yes.
I don't want to monopolize. I know you're.
Now you know me, man. I'm over here, brains going a million miles an hour with ideas, thoughts, questions, concerns.
I see that when the hat's straight ahead like this, Nick. That's the hat's
that's his thinking cap. I got it. Yeah.
But he's also focusing on what you're saying and what I'm saying, and he's like, boom. Dave and Dave's like, I'm like, I could see the smoke. You can also right by Michael Jordan, where Michael Jordan shoots.
Right.
Smoke comes right up there by his one hand.
I try to hide it, but I don't hide it very well. And that's okay. I got to ask you, Nick, a couple things.
Sure.
Was this a venture that was this kind of a thing that you and your wife kind of both at the same time said, hey, let's do this? Were one of you more so like, was it her? Was it you? Like, how did that evolve from going from where you were to kind of evolving to this?
Sure, absolutely. Of course, in all things, my wife deserves 100% of the credit.
Smart
You know,
man.
she, came up with the idea and launched it. And we've been talking for probably about the last 9 months or so about me coming into the company as well, and taking it to that next step.
Nice.
Oh, Brooke's
like
an
that.
awesome coach. Brooke's a great coach.
Yeah.
She is. She's an amazing coach, an amazing teacher.
Oh my God.
She's certified in.
What
I can't even tell you all of the acronyms behind her name. And she's just the smartest person I've ever met.
My God.
Well, I think what I like a lot about what you said earlier, and again, this is something that a lot of people that get into a service or a business like this is they try to be like the fixer of everything for everybody. And I love the fact that, Greggy mentioned something about sales and I loved your answer, you know what I mean? Because again, so often people think like, oh, I'm going to help you with everything. And it sounds to me like you guys are drilled in on, these are the areas that we have expertise that we can help you in, and anything else, we are mature enough professionally to say we may not be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
100%. It's, this is, us knowing what our strengths are, looking at the strengths in our clients, and seeing, and to make an analogy, with Brooke and myself, we play off each other so well. She has amazing talents in certain areas. I have talents in others, and we complement each other so well. And, we've been working together for, it's going on, almost 20 years now. And to be able to do that and be husband and wife, that's a skill. So taking that same philosophy and matching our talents, our strengths with those of our clients, and making them play off of one another is really something that we like to do, and not trying to be, that man for all seasons. We know what we're good at.
I think what else I like about what y'all are doing that I think really is kind of a bridge of the gap between that entrepreneur who for some reason they like torture and they just like to work a million hours a day and they like to do everything, and they usually wear a red shirt and a gray hat and sit in front of a Michael Jordan poster for hours on end. And then earlier I was saying, like, if you really just want to be a DJ, then work for somebody who wants to do the business stuff. But I like this because this kind of bridges the gap between somebody saying, well, I don't know, like I don't know that I really want to go work for somebody else, but I'm smart enough to know that I need help with some of these administrative business types of things. And so it's almost like having an employee that's not necessarily actually an employee of your company, but instead a service provider that takes care of that segment of your company. And I really like how y'all do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an industry in so many other places that is taking off. We all hear on the news every day. People are quitting their jobs in droves, and so on. And they're doing that to go into more of the virtual business, whatever that might be. Yeah. So I know with the pandemic the last year, I've had my ear to the ground listening to it, and I think it was Greg who made the point earlier. It's coming back. The entertainment business is coming back. I can see it when I walk down the streets in Pacific Beach here in San Diego. It's the bars are full. the bands are playing, the DJs are playing, and so on. I see that happening. So, thinking now about, for you as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, how's 2022 going to go compared to 2020?
Crazy. Crazy.
That's exactly right.
It's crazy. They're booking now. My God.
Right. So
Crazy.
preparing now for that amazing influx of business is the way to go, in our opinion.
Oh my God. Nick, and Nick, what state? I mean, when you were with the pros, what state were you in charge of for a while? Weren't you down in DC for a while?
So I worked with you in the Philadelphia branch for a couple of years. Then I took over the Baltimore and the Harrisburg branch.
Okay. You had hundreds, and it was easily stated that you've managed hundreds of DJs, videographers, and photographers.
Oh, absolutely.
Besides overseeing catering, besides overseeing the ranch, and literally, when I say the ranch, you had horses there, right? You had animals.
400 acres worth.
Oh my God, you had chickens running around this place, didn't you? 400. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me rewind that. 400 acres.
400 acres.
Did you have tumbleweeds?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Tumbleweeds, tarantulas, horses, you name
tarantulas, rattlesnake.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You have Pablo. He go, "Hey, senor, I help you out with your horses." Oh my God.
We did.
You did? No, that's okay. No, my God. I'd party with him all the time. That's my buddy.
Right.
Yeah, dude. He'd be my best friend. He'd be, Greg, let's get some work done.
Right.
Oh wow. All right. So my point being is here, all fun and jest aside, you are so capable of doing this, and you are so well versed in all the different aspects, and you've seen so many different things in this industry, in the entertainment side of it, that you are perfectly, set and suited to do this. So congrats, man. Congrats. And I want to reaffirm, you said this, and it's one of the points here, when you can concentrate more of doing what you love. And why I'm saying that, and I will emphasize the word love, Nick, because one of our staple questions is, why do you do this? And I think Nick knows the answer to this, because Nick is probably the guy that would hear me say it 1,000 times a day, and he knew the magic word that would make me ring the bell in the office. And that was exactly that, doing what you love. If you love this, I'd give you a chance. You could be a sucky DJ, but if you had heart, I'd give you a chance.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah,
absolutely.
So, but yeah, if you can concentrate on doing, more of what you love and less on the, what you call it? The
minutia.
The minutiae. Wow, that's a big word. See,
I pull out a fancy word from time to time, Greg.
I'm from Philly. I don't have an MBA.
I'm from Philly. Come on.
Just don't get that all over the bottom of your shoes. It'll never come off.
Minutia. Yeah, it's exactly correct. Okay. So all right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, and less on the minutia of the businesses. So all right, but yeah, the more bullshit, all the crap. You take care of all the crap, so that we can be as successful as we can be. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you also touched on current technologies, and you said you mentioned going virtual. So I'm going to take the next piece and just stop there. Because I did the same thing, and a lot of people misunderstand the word going virtual is you don't have the $1,500 a month office. That's first. Right. And then besides that, you got all the bills, you got the phone, you got the bill is the overhead. You can have $4,000 in overhead, or as we like to say in Philly, that's your nut you got to make every month. It's what you got to do. So, you concentrate, you concentrate on a lot of that for these guys too, basically the running and the ins and outs of their balance sheet, shall I say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. You work because some of these guys don't even know what the word balance sheet is. Assets, liabilities, owner's
profit
equity.
And loss.
Yeah, tell me about your P&L.
Here's something Dave's heard 1,000 times. I went to the bridal show last night. I made $20,000. You made $20,000. You got $20,000 in sales revenue.
Right. Exactly right.
And sales revenue. Am I wrong?
Yep.
Revenue. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the way things are thrown around in this industry, it's just, and people, you did what? You what? You who? You know, and that's why, you know, I thought, I heard this one guy, and we were in a meeting somewhere. Dave was there, and he says, "Oh, I get 34 gigs a year." I'm like, "You work one day every day? Like, how the hell does that happen?" Poof! Guess what? That just almost happened to me. I'm like, wow. Now I know why and how these guys get these events. You know, you could stumble upon one, and it can change your life forever.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I at first I was questioning it, then all of a sudden it happened. Like, ooh, I get it. I get how this guy worked 34 events, or you know, you know, did he say a week? It's like, hey,
I think it's been a month.
I think it was a month. Yeah, it blew me away. I was like, what? You did what?
I'll take in a month any day of the week, you know. But if you say, you know, in a week, I'm calling bullshit on it. But,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
All right. But the technologies, and once again, let me focus on the technologies. A lot of these people that move virtually, it's getting their way of doing business out of the office and into the internet. Is that what we talk about there? Getting the way they do things, you know, taking them into the
certainly,
new
absolutely. You know, every business owner works differently. You know, I've worked with people, you know, on paper, all the way up to every single bit of their business is digital. You know, and basically building, I'll throw another acronym at you, SOP, throwing their standard operating procedures, you know, building around how they like to work, because it is important, you know, to as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, to work how you're comfortable. You know, so doing things in the way that you like doing them, and doing things in a way that are understandable. You know, I know that, you know, as much into technology as I am, you know, I'm still a little bit on paper. You know, I'm making notes, you know, all of these things, you know, so you have to figure out how you like to do things, you know, as the business owner, and maybe they can be changed or rearranged or swapped or whatever the case is. But that is that's a good way to look at it. And part of that, especially nowadays, is technology. I mean, there are thousands of companies that are dedicated to just workflows and KPIs and financials and SOPs and all of that stuff. So taking those things and using them to your advantage. And some of these technologies are free. You don't even have to pay for them.
What's an
Nick,
SOP?
do you guys help with people with continuum plans at all?
Continuum plans. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that term.
So essentially, like putting together an understanding of, if I was incapacitated, or God forbid, if I died, how to keep my business going after either one of those situations.
Nice.
No, to be honest with you, that's not something we've really thought about.
Put it in the book. Write it down for the next meeting, Nick.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Well, let me be honest with you. I don't think anybody thinks about it anyways, right? Like it's something that a lot of people just don't think about. But it's something that should be thought about, because the more that you like, let's be honest, if I'm just gonna be real, if I died tomorrow, my business would probably have a really small chance of surviving, because I have everything here, right? I have everything here. And I know that that's an issue that I'm actually, honestly, this year been working on creating that continuum plan. And maybe it's, you know, there could be some other terms for it. That just makes sense to me.
I like
calling it that.
Succession plan is what I would use.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
A succession plan.
Yeah, succession plan is another perfect way. Yeah, absolutely.
What a great idea. My God.
But yeah, I think it's important that, and it's a conversation that we should be having and people should be aware of, because anything can happen. And if you don't have, you know, if you worked your ass off to build this company up and make it something that is potentially taking care of your family or on the way to being in a position to doing that, the worst thing you could do is again, not have that plan in place so that whoever steps in and succeeds you in that succession, in that continuum of your business, if they don't know how to do that, it just doesn't make sense to not allow them that opportunity.
It's a shame to take a business that's worth, tens of thousands of dollars easily. And I know all of us have worked to create our businesses that yearly or, tens of thousands. It's just going to dissolve. God forbid something happens, unless one of our loved ones can jump right in and take over. That's rare. It's not going to happen. And I see that. You know what? I was going to talk about the technology and the paper thing, but it was that same company that I was dealing with the paper, the 80,000, 5 cents a copy. It was crazy. All these files that they had to do the technology around. But point being, that same company had that happen where, the owner passed away and the wife stepped in and saved the company. And you know what? It was hard. It was really, really, really hard. And, just recently with the whole coronavirus, hopefully we made that easier for the owner of that company. But yeah, Dave and Nick, there's something that, and no joke here, all kidding aside, we do a lot of kidding and a lot of joking, but maybe, you write that in that little book and you're like, what an idea. And if it's not something that's created, then you be the pioneer and you create the damn thing and you be the pioneer of that and bring it to all the other industries, because I don't see how anybody can say no. If you have a plan that nobody else does, that says, here's what's going to happen when your business ends, and you have a loved one or you have a family member, and maybe you or your company can just step right in there and start running that business, utilizing the manpower or whatever is needed.
Sure.
There's going to be 100 different obstacles or variables in that equation, but just what a great idea. And that's why I was talking earlier about David, who he is, why I listen to him and trust this guy, because of ideas and the truth, as he just said. I'm going to speak truthfully here, of that. I was talking to you about everything that was going on, earlier, and that's right there, boom, case in point. I should ring the bell, learning moment, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's absolutely a great point. And I'll just make a quick point exactly on that same catering company that I consulted for all those years ago. They're still good friends of ours, and they're both in their early 70s. They've owned the company now for 30 years, so we talk to them all the time about their continuum plan or their succession plan. It's like, what's the next step, guys? Because you've built this amazing company over the last 30 years. What's next? You can't do this forever. You're not going to stand behind that stove forever. So what comes next? And that's a great point.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Nick.
Hit me.
How'd you come up with the name of the company? What's the story behind it?
Show me your tattoo.
Show me tattoo. You were talking about your shark earlier, kind of your totem animal. So the mascot, So the tortoise, the turtle, is Hunter Brooks' totem animal, and I've been called the bear since I can remember. From a very young age. You can't see me sitting down, but I'm 306'4".
And I saw and that one night in Vegas, I saw him without his shirt. He's got this tattoo of a bear claw that is ripping into his chest. It is so damn awesome.
Nice.
I was like, dude. And then don't you have another thing on your arm?
I did have a bear tattoo on this arm, but I got it covered up.
Oh wow.
That is cool.
Nice, dude. Yeah. All right.
This is my Philadelphia Eagles arm.
Got an Eagles arm. Look at you, bro. That's awesome. Oh my God. Very cool.
All right. I got 2 more questions. I know we're getting close to the end here. We might go over the hour. If we do, then life goes on, right?
Life goes on.
Good stuff. So 2 questions, Nick. First question is, I think a lot of times people in your line of work, when you have multiple clients, you have a tendency to see a commonality of the kind of the hindrance of growth. I'm trying to think of a better term, but let's just use that for now. What are some of the commonalities that you guys have seen in the clients that you work with? And obviously I don't need names or anything at all like that. Just curiosity is of that. And then my second question is there anything that you've come across with a client where you're like, man, these guys really have their act together? And what about that made you feel that way?
Sure. So to answer the first question, I would say that something is common across a lot of our clients because a lot of our clients are growing entrepreneurs. They've kind of gone through that first step where it was just themselves or maybe themselves and someone else. So the commonality that we see a lot is growing pains. In business, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners know this as well, being in business for themselves, there are growing pains whenever you take it to the next step, and whatever that might be. That could be technology, that could be equipment, or customer relations, having to deal with all of that. So those growing pains is something that we see in every client. It's very, very common. So, and all of those acronyms that I was throwing at earlier, is taking that business, streamlining it as much as possible, and for better growth and more even growth. Because that DJ, who went to the bridal show and made that $20,000 in a day, that
Right.
might be the only money that DJ made, for that 2 or 3 months, for that first quarter, or whatnot. So, how do you, and then of course that brings in cash flow and all kinds of stuff that we don't necessarily need to go into. So to answer your question, growing pains is definitely, the thing that we see most, that is common. As far as the second question goes, I would say that, our businesses, the entertainment business, the creative business, is very individualistic. So I've seen so many amazing things that individual does. That is so special and so unique to them. Taking that thing and really monetizing it, making that the focus, of their business. I can't necessarily give you a more clear answer than that, but it's taking what you do that's special and unique, and making that your business.
No, I think that's a great answer. I'm such a big fan of systems and growth levers and things like that. So anytime we can talk about these kind of things, it's always fascinating to me because there are a lot of really cool things that people can do that don't even realize they can do them.
Am I smelling a new guest for WBG?
Maybe.
Wedding business growth is
right. I like it. I like it.
Nick, you had an idea brewing in there, and you're ready to spit it out. Did I cut you off?
No, I was just going to say it's the beautiful thing about business is there is not one way to do it.
Right.
Obviously every business is different. Obviously every company is different. But there are certain core things that remain the same. And if you can be successful in managing those core things, then, we laugh all the time, Brooke and I. I have Nick's 5 business rules, and I'm not going to go over the whole list. But rule number 1 is there are business owners and there are business people, and they're not always the same thing.
Ooh, I like that one.
Now I feel like you should go into your at least how to somewhat.
Yeah, that was good.
So it's
Number two.
and understanding which one you are is probably the first step to success. Because those business owners, they can be great at what they do, but if they can't balance their books and they can't, post to social media and they can't, have a working marketing plan, then it's great. And I'm sure they're having a great time, but we're here to make money.
Or hire somebody like Tortoise and the Bear to do that for you. Yeah. And
See how we wrap that all up?
Stop relying on your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend to do it all for you. Yeah,
100%.
Some of us. Well, and look, sometimes a lot of us can do all of what you mentioned except one thing, Sure. I mean, I'm guilty of doing a lot. I mean, I'm a grinder. I'm a business owner, but there might be one thing out of all that I slack on, or maybe two or three. I still do them, but I don't do them to my potential. And I think there's a lot of guys out there and gals out there like, why do I fail? Because there's one or two things that they're doing that they're slacking on that are hurting them. They don't realize that when they're 100% complete and they have, either somebody to help them, Tortoise and the Bear, or even a partner. Sometimes people bring in a partner just because of that, because it balances them out and it makes them whole. Right. I said, hey, I want to be part of my company, but well,
to play off of what you're saying, something that a lot of people don't think of, and especially here in the US where it's, all, to use your word, grind, it's all about the grind. It's all, it's all about making the money and working the 24/7 and making it happen for yourself. But yourself is the operative word there. You are the most important person in your company. So if you're not taking care of yourself, then we have to start talking about your succession plan.
Okay.
Because you're drinking too much, you're not eating well, you're not exercising, you're not spending time with your kids, you're not doing all of that stuff. So if you're spending all of your time grinding, doing all of the stuff that you probably hate to do.
So you're helping in a way of health as well. Can you recognize these things, and can you say, hey, Joe, Joe, I see, blah, 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 blah. I mean, are you going to be like that honest guy and come right out and tell this guy after you see him sitting down, he smoked a pack of cigarettes in your interview, came in there drunk, but has the money for you to run his business? You're going to look him in the eye and say, Joe, let me tell you something. I'm going to do this, 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 and this for you, but you're going to knock off the cigarettes and you're going to knock off the booze and not be drunk 24 hours a day. And he probably got 5 or 6 perks in him because the way he's slurring. And it's only a matter of time. So you're going to sell him a succession plan because he needs it. Why? Because you're a good salesman as well. But if you're brutally honest,
like a really, really like defined down customer, almost like you've seen this before.
Where is he?
I'm married a top of the hill sales rep. I mean, I was one before I went into management, and it was honed into me. But if you read a person and you can see a person, especially when you're face to face shaking their hand and those little nuances, even at a bridal show or a sales event, I smell alcohol on somebody's breath. I'm going to sell them a little bit differently or act a little bit differently. It's all about the sale and the way you approach people. But with back to what you're doing, or being honest, I'm honest with a lot of people, and I'll tell them, and that's what I'm known for in this industry. I might be hated by a lot of people because of how honest I am. I will come, and this, Nick.
I do.
Those that do not like me hate me because I will tell you to your face what's needed and what needs to be done. And I will be pretty blunt and direct sometimes, because I'm not going to talk about you behind your back. I'm going to tell you first and then tell everybody else not to do what you did. but that's the way it had to be.
Absolutely. So I'll succinctly put it this way. It's as business owners, we all have ways of getting in our own way. We all have things that prohibit us from taking that next step, and whether that's self-esteem or it's perk or it's going down to the raceway and betting on the ponies. I mean, whatever that thing might be. Those last two things are less common, but It's being able to talk to that person, and in no uncertain terms saying you're getting in your own way, and if you don't stop, then this is not going to succeed.
That's what I was trying to drive out of you. Like, yeah, so exactly. In other words, if I were interviewing you to do this for my company, would you tell me, hey, Greg, you're betting on the ponies a little too much? Because and obviously, won't you be in charge of at least their QuickBooks or some type of? Because if Joe, Joe, how do you do your books and your software? I write it down into this little thing right here, and they have a little piece of paper or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects of helping somebody and taking over their business. Believe me, like I saw it. The first big aspect of closing down a virtual business, and that was the next question I'm going to ask you, and tell me if I'm crazy. But the big thing is, when I looked around, besides all of the computers and the monitors and the chairs and desks and tables that had to go, that's all bullshit, because once you take all the stuff off the computers and put them on the one hard drive, you're done. It was all the paperwork that was kept by the old school businesses. Now, if these are people that were, depending upon their age, the more paperwork you have, the more of a problem it is to go virtual, because I know a company was bought in, and for X number of pennies, they were going to not only scan it, but they were going to shred it right there, because that can be sensitive information.
Sure.
And that scan stuff now becomes virtual, and you management that way. But now that being said and all that, here's what I while I was doing this, I had a lot of time to really think about what you were doing. And somebody even said, wow, you should make a business out of that, take people virtual. And I was like, I got enough going. Believe me, I'm doing this to help out a friend that I love, period. That was it. That was simply it. Just doing good karma, helping. So my thing is, I said, wow, you can pay, and you said it, and you said it in your statement here, that most businesses can be run remotely from, somewhere or another from around the world. Now, in my ideas, I'm thinking if you have a service business, of course, that can be run remotely, because as long as you have your people on a map and you could dispatch them and schedule them, yes. But if you are a manufacturer, you're going to we're manufacturing a tangible item like a widget, of course not. But if you're selling goods, you're selling goods, and you have an inventory, besides drop shipping, which is a totally different thing, you can still create an inventory and or have a store and both a virtual presence. I've seen it, because I've asked a lot of local businesses, how the hell can you run in the high districts portion of Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, or Abington, Pennsylvania, or Manayunk, within the city of Philly? How can you pay that high extravagant rent of a storefront and have what is called a vintage, not a thrift shop, but some of them still use vintage thrift, but a vintage shop? And one guy, I walked in there, not just one, but one guy was just evidently obvious. His 15-year-old daughter was in there putting pieces of his stuff all up on eBay. Most of these guys have 80 to 90% of their inventory, if not 100%, all on eBay at the same time.
Yeah.
And they manage their goods that way. And some people don't even have a storefront, and they do that. But am I wrong unless you are in the service industry or the goods industry, but in the manufacturing area, that's really about it, what we have left in this world? Because Lord knows, United States, we're not a manufacturing company anymore. We're not making those widgets or those things or whatever. We're largely a service oriented company. Am I wrong?
Country.
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 Well, what then? Help me out, Dave. Then what's untrue about it? I don't know.
No, I'm not discrediting or you just said a service-based company, and I think you meant service-based country. That's all.
Yeah, no, that is untrue. You're right. Now there are. I guess I'm branching it off a little bit differently, but
that's okay. I want to go back to something that both of you guys said. You were talking about. Please. You were talking about hustle, and I think that. The a lot of times the problem with hustle is, number one, you don't really see too many broke people posting on social media about hustling. I mean, honestly, you don't. And I think that there is this there's this misunderstanding of what hustling means. Because I think that to the uneducated person, hustling means going 100 miles an hour, just go, 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 with no strategy and with no checks and balances to understand if your quote unquote hustle is even yielding the necessity to keep hustling in the first place, right?
100%.
If you're out there hustling nonstop and you're out there banging your friggin' head up against the wall and then lying to yourself and posting something on social media that says hashtag hustle day, but you haven't, you don't have anything to prove for it, then stop. Like, honestly, stop. And then really understand that there is a smarter way to hustle. But the problem is it's not sexy. And that's what all of this, and this is why, and Nick, I'm not saying you're not sexy. I think your wife would probably definitely think that you are, but this is why this part of our industry specifically is not sexy, because it's the stuff that most people in our industry don't want to do. However, it is probably the most important part of whether you survive long-term or not. And you don't realize that in the beginning, but as time goes on, you can realize that. And here's just a very quick example of that. If you ask yourself, how do you come up with the price that you charge for whatever it is you do? How do you come up with that price? And if your answer is, it's what I think I can get, it's the common, it's the average of where I work, it's what my mom told me I should charge because she thinks I'm great. Like, whatever your answer is, I just challenge you to think about, then how do you know if it's even right? Mm-hmm. Like, take the time to figure out, do you want to pay yourself a salary? This goes back to what Nick said about taking care of yourself. Not only do you have to take care of yourself physically and healthy, but you have to take care of yourself financially, unless you just want to do this for fun. And if that's the case, then this is not the right show to listen to, honestly. Like, It really isn't. Just keep going, having fun, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're serious about wanting to do something real, then you have to have measurable goals of whether or not you're even doing that in the first place. Okay. So coming up with those clearly defined goals and then being able to have those measuring points to find out, because think about this. Let's just hypothetically say that you lost your job, you quit your job, you had a friggin' midlife crisis, whatever. And you're like, screw it, I'm just going to start DJing. And, at my old job, I was making $60,000. I can do the same thing DJing. And, I'm just going to get in the industry really quick. And I'm just going to charge like $500. I'm just going to charge $600. Let's just arbitrarily say that. But have you taken time to figure out how many events at an average of $600 that you're going to have to be able to book in order to get to that $60,000, which, by the way, you still haven't gotten there yet, because when you get to that $60,000, all you've achieved is this salary that you want to pay yourself, but you haven't taken care of your marketing, you haven't taken care of your advertising, you haven't taken care of your equipment, you haven't taken care of your vehicle. I could keep going. And so at this point, then you realize, holy shit, this was the dumbest idea I've ever come up with in my life. But if you're not thinking about it this way, then you're just setting yourself up for failure immediately. And it's not going to be hashtag hustle anymore. It's going to be hashtag dead on the side of the street.
Right.
Like, seriously, because that's where burnout happens. You end up with this burnout because you didn't take time to figure out if the plan that you have in place even makes sense in the first place.
Right.
Then you get burnout because you work so fucking hard. And I'm sorry to go there, but you work so hard, and it's like throwing darts at a dartboard that doesn't even exist. You're never going to hit the bullseye.
Wow. Hold on. I rang the bell.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but I mean, this is just what I think about when I think about these types of conversations, and it's so rampant in our industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Hanscom will now get down off of his soapbox. Thank you for playing, and stay tuned. Now, actually, no, but truth be said, and he's exactly right. And you know what? Here's a man just like me that is passionate about this industry and others that do it. and the way we set prices. Because Nick, if you're not out, and you're not, I don't necessarily know if you're out there on these boards and these DJ boards, but every time somebody wants to create a post with 50,000 threads or people yelling and arguing, that's what you need to post. You know, what do you charge for weddings, and why do you charge this, and and you'll see a guy's go, oh, I'm charging $25 an hour, or I'm on Craigslist, or I'm on blah 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 Thumbtack, or and the other guy that's saying, well, you know, I'm out there and I'm charging $5,000 for just a 4-hour event. You know, so but then there has to be McDonald's in this industry. There has to be Outback Steakhouse in this industry, and then there has to be the Capitol Grill.
Right.
You have to set your prices those 3 ways, and to do right, and to have what I call, and correct me if I'm wrong, David, value added for what you do. And you know what? If it's all about the performance, then do that and be that way to everybody. Go 1,000% above and beyond everything that you do, and including the customer service, you know, to a point that's not overwhelming, but just so right. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Dave?
Well, and to further your point, I want to look something up here that I want to share with you guys in a second. But to further your point, you also, but here's where people get hung up. They want to live that Capitol Grill life, but they've set themselves up in the budget of the McDonald's, and that's the point I'm trying to say. Like, you cannot live, in your analogy, you cannot live a Capitol Grill life if you're setting your business up to be a McDonald's business model. Sorry, I'm so up now because I'm getting excited. But I know that's easy for the 3 of us to understand, but it's amazing how many people in our industry don't understand that.
And,
you know?
And I hate this.
But when it comes to value, you made a point about value, and I saw this thing, man. I saw this thing, and I don't even know if the Rock really said it. There's a picture of the Rock. I don't know if you can see this, but there's like a picture of the Rock there. But anyways, there's a statement on it that says, if I do a job in 30 minutes, it's because I spent 10 years learning how to do that in 30 minutes. You pay me for the years, not for the minutes. That is one hell of a great definition of value.
Wow.
That is a hell of a great definition of how you can explain your value.
That's great. Yeah, you're paying me for
that because I was like, man, that's deep.
That is deep.
Wow. Absolutely. And that same sentiment carries over to every industry I've ever been in. You know, there's always that person that comes in and they want to be that Capitol Grill. They want to be, you know, that next DJ Greg you see. But what they don't understand is you have to put your work in. You have to put you have to put it in. I've been doing this for 25 years, you know, so it's it's just like people. You're not paying a doctor, you know, $100 every 15 minutes, you know, because they're worth $100 for every 15 minutes. You're paying for their college, you're paying for medical school, you're paying for their Beamer and all of that other stuff. You know, that's what you're paying for. You know, so you've got those $500 DJs, and I've met many of them. And I've met the $5,000 DJs. Some of them are worth it. Some of them are not. You know, but the point is that you need to hit the spot in the market that you fall into, you know, as the business person, and then you can grow from there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And not undervalue yourself, but also don't overvalue yourself. And I think you make a very good point. And I want to be very clear that I have zero problem with somebody charging $500 to DJ events if that fits the business plan that they're trying to accomplish. That's all. That's the only criteria in my brain that equates. If you charging $500 and you do, you know, let's do a little quick math here, okay? So you charge $500 and you do 52 events a year. Let's say you do one a week. That's $26,000. And Nick, you probably knew that faster than me doing it on the calculator, but that's $26,000 that you brought in. So let's make sure to go back to what Greggy said earlier about the example of the bridal show. $500 per event at 52 events in a year, realistically, probably, and that might even be a stretch, especially in the beginning, is going to bring you in $26,000. Now, we haven't taken any taxes out of this yet, which you should be. Again, we haven't taken any expenses out of this, which you have to. So this $26,000 gets whittled down really, really, really friggin' quickly to the point where you might be at Nick, help me out, $14,000 when it's all said and done. And then you have to figure out, can I make that work for me? Because if you can't, then you shouldn't wait till June and start this in January and then wait to June and say, holy shit, I screwed this all up. You can already know this going into the year before you even get started. I like to call it reverse engineering. It's very simple.
The one thing I used to hate were guys that would actually pay to do this. And there are some out there that this would cost them money.
Yeah.
And that's really what would get me going and get me crazy. But all of this, what we're saying, and I hate to be cliche about it. This is just a commercial for this man right here from, Tortoise and the Bear, because all of this that we've just been saying and going back and forth on, the whole entire show, but especially this last portion where we're getting really passionate, all of this can be stopped and avoided by just having a company very similar to what Nick and Brooke do, Tortoise and the Bear.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the cool thing. Now, if we can be the influencers, to take Nick and Brooke out there and be like, hey, we actually have a company for DJs that can manage you and do the right thing and let you focus on just DJing, and they can give you a consultation, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's, I'm kind of fired up about that, Nick. And after this podcast, I'm really, really fired up. So I'm going to let David ask a couple questions, but I want to ask, out of our regulars, I want to hear who's still hanging out of the regulars. I want to know if Braden is still there. But besides that, if you are, Braden, put something in the room, or Andrew or somebody like that. And Nick, was there anything that you wanted to add? I mean,
well, I appreciate being on the show. Thank you very much, guys. For allowing me to put it out there. I do have an offer to send out to all your listeners. So anyone who is even remotely interested in what I'm talking about, head over to the website, which is tortoiseandthebear.com, and schedule a call with me. We'll make it a 30-minute, what we'll call a project review. We'll talk a little bit about your company, but the bonus is going to come. I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I'm going to give you what we'll call a little business tune-up. We'll talk about the administration of your business. We'll talk about the marketing of your business, the sales aspect, as well as the technology aspect. And I'll give you like a little breakdown of what I think could benefit your company. And that's all on me.
Very nice. All right, I got one more question, and then I'm going to shut up because I'm geeking out on this stuff. Nick, do you guys ever talk with your clients about customer lifetime value?
Of course. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that you do. I'm so glad that you do. Greg, we could do a whole another show about that. I think me and Nick could probably talk for hours about this together.
Give me the five. Repeat it again. Is that something like what we were just talking about earlier? The when you pass, if something your business, what we
that's a totally different thing.
Lifetime value.
So
customer lifetime value. Yep.
Customer lifetime value. Explain that in 5 seconds.
So in 5 seconds, it's how much money you are spending on a customer versus how much lifetime income you are getting from that customer. What is the what is the lifetime the amount of money that you could possibly make from that customer versus the investment that you put into getting and keeping that customer.
Everybody throws out letters similar to CPL or cost per lead.
Yeah, I mean that's a facet of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, the acronym definitely would be CLV, or sometimes people just use the acronym LTV for lifetime value. But
No,
Greg, here's why it's important to me. This is why it's important to me for our viewers and our listeners to understand the numbers on lifetime value. Because I'm just going to get real. A lot of DJs, you see it on the boards, you see it when you go to conventions and you get into the hallway talks and stuff like that. And one of the big things that comes up is they bitch about wedding planners. Can't stand working with wedding planners. Can't stand blah, 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 blah. And if you really stop and thought about the lifetime value, the potential lifetime value of the relationship of that wedding planner, you would never bitch about it again. And you would actually probably change your tune because I would put that planner up against any other client that you have, because remember, they're still a client. They still can be considered a client. If they refer you 5 events and each one of those events yielded you $1,500, okay, quick math, $7,500, right? $7,500. If they never referred you anybody again, that would be the lifetime value of that relationship. So let's interchange the words client and relationship, because sometimes the lifetime value is not always with a specific client as much as it is with a relationship that you have somebody within the industry, right? So that's $7,500 versus, somebody who saw you at an event and then called you one day to hire you for another event, and they paid you $1,000, and then you never heard from them again. So the lifetime value of that client was what? $1,000. See what I'm saying? And I think it's something that we, in our industry, again, we overlook it so much, and we really should not do that, because there is so much value. And I would challenge that the cost. So Nick was talking about the cost to acquire both of those relationships and retain those relationships, by the way. I would challenge you that the cost to acquire them was probably the same, if not very close.
You're just talking about wedding planners. Like, I mean, I could take this to the next page and say, not only just wedding planners, it's every event that you do. Make sure you talk to
yeah,
exactly. It's all of them. So can I interject, throw a little story in there about exactly what you're talking about. It was a bunch of years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was the co-founder of an organization out here in Central California called the Wedding and Event Professionals, Monterey Bay Wedding and Event Professionals. And that organization was solely dedicated to the DJ getting to know the wedding planner, the caterer getting to know the venue owner. It was all about that networking and building of those relationships. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Dave. It's you can, and as a former venue owner, I can tell you that the relationship that I had with my preferred vendors list, it didn't make me any money, but it made them tons of money, because I knew that they were going to come into my venue and they were going to do an amazing job for every single client that I referred to them. And that made me look good, and it made them money, so the same can be made in that relationship. The same, thought could be put into that relationship that you're talking, the DJ and the venue owner, the DJ and the caterer, the DJ and the wedding planner. That's an amazing relationship that you have to cultivate as a disc jockey, as an entertainer. You have to do it 100%.
Okay. Point. What are you looking at me for? Yeah, I'm not. Here's what I have to say. You can be that guy that walks in there to the wrong wedding planner, and it happens at venues too. But it only happens at venues when it's a certain company, and Nick can attest to this. We worked for a company long ago that we worked at so many venues so much that we would walk into this place and we were hated just for the company that we came from. You guys suck. Well, wait a second. You don't know who Nick is. You don't know
Right.
who I is. And we have this problem because of what the last guy came in there and did. He bought his girlfriend. He got drunk. He didn't have his speakers on stand. He looked like crap. Blah, blah, blah. I can name 1,000 different excuses why there's the problem. This same thing can happen with these wedding planners, but it's not just the company, it's a DJ in general. Well, I like bands better, or I like the harpist, or I like blah 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 because, well, you know, I'm in New York City, or I'm in LA, and I'm in Carmel, or whatever. Who cares? You know, if a person is not nice in the way they treat others, and I see them treating a videographer like shit, I don't care the money that can be made from them. I don't care if I can get rich off of that. I don't want to surround myself with that negative energy. The rest of everybody, you could do what you want. I don't care. You know, there's positivity and negativity in this world. That's why I'm in education, because I believe on passing on knowledge, you know, before you go. That's my end plan. There are no secrets. And yeah, you have to get your lumps. And on my way up, when I was younger, a lot of people snubbed me. I wouldn't call it bullying. It would be called, you got to get your lumps. I'm not training you to be my replacement. Well, I'm not going to be your friend when I'm, you know, the young boy. When you get older and you need assistance, I'm not going to be that guy. And that's, you know, how this evolves. But back to the point, these planners have been scorned. They've been scorned by a sucky DJ, and then they come in there and they see you, and it's, you know, boom, 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 do this, do this, do this, and it can be if they don't treat you correctly with the right respect. You know, there can be issues in this industry, but there's value in it. Dave's got the point. Here's the value.
That's the word
value.
Right there. Exactly.
Value.
And it's the cost benefit analysis, to throw another, you know, term at you, is what is the benefit of being
how much money
cordial to that creep over there. You know, if that creep is booking 100 weddings a year,
if they're gonna,
it's a damn good idea to be friends with that person,
and you're gonna get 25 of them. Yeah, I don't care if you've got 4 or 5 bodies buried in your basement. None of my business. I want to get the, you know, I get it.
Well, Greg, but I'm just gonna play devil's advocate a little bit with your explanation that you gave there, and I would say that number one, we've probably all been scorned by somebody else that does something in the event that we're a part of. And I feel like if you're walking into that situation, and I'm not saying you specifically, let's just say fictitious hypothetical DJ is walking into that situation, I'm going to challenge that they already put themselves in that position. The wedding planner didn't put themselves in that position, because why didn't hypothetical DJ pick up the phone and call wedding planner before that day and introduce themselves and say, hey, we haven't worked together, not sure what your experience with DJs are, but if you've had bad experiences in the past, I want to be the guy that changes that. And here's the things that I'm going to do to help make that happen, so that when I show up and we work this event together, it's going to be a seamless, great event for the both of us.
Great.
If that hasn't been done, then
great point.
That DJ, hypothetical DJ we're referring to, has really nobody but themselves to blame for it. The reality is, just about everything that we do in this industry, number one, everything we do has already been done for many, 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 many years prior to us doing it. It's already been done. We can already look back at historical data and understand the challenges and problems and pitfalls that we're going to face. And that means we can formulate a way to avoid those things so that we play with house money. It's our own fault if we don't do that.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it is. That is a great point. Yeah, look, it's.
And you can consider that the marketing side of your business is, you know, you're putting yourself out there, you're getting to know, you're networking, you know, and it's the preemptive strike against any of that negative vibe that you might run into cold.
Right now, and that's if you're lucky enough to have that, you know, the problems that arise, and you know this too. These are all ambushes, because you get to a place and you don't know what you're dealing with. You never knew that there was a wedding planner. You never knew that this was going on. You never knew that was happening. Believe me, Nick and I've got stories about the ambushes. And it happens. But in Dave's, and I know what Dave's going to say, he challenges everybody to look on the other side and to be the better person, to stand up and accomplish what nobody else has accomplished. If you can do that, that's where greatness evolves. If you can accomplish something that nobody else can accomplish, where everybody else is failing, I get it. I totally get it,
And the reality is, it's not that difficult to do, because like I said,
right.
if you see a situation where you keep getting ambushed, or you keep having this certain thing happen all the time, you already know what you're going into. Again, it's like getting into the boxing ring with Mike Tyson. Like, he's going to beat the shit out of you. If you're just going to let him keep hitting you in the face and you don't figure out how to move and dodge the punch, you're not going to last very long.
Right.
But there have been people who have been able to figure out how to do that. So it is possible. And to your point, that exactly what you said, that is exactly what separates the people who have longevity, the people who have security, and the people that can say, my value is here because I have learned how to get here. I'm not faking it. I'm not fronting it. I have learned how to get here, and now I understand how to play with house money to make this. I use that term a lot, but I just love that term. But I know how to use house money to make sure that I can put as many possibilities in, not my favor, but our favor for this event. But I'm also working on contingency plan A, B, C, and D, just in case all of what we thought going into it was going to be one way, and then it ends up not being that way. Think here, prime example. This is the smallest prime example of what I'm talking about. You have 4 people coming up to give toast. You walk over them before the toast, and you take the microphone and you show them. When you talk in the microphone, please put the microphone right here. Don't put it down by your stomach. Don't put it up your ass. Don't wave it all around the room. Put it right here. Right, like literally, if you want to, rest it on your chin and hold it right there. That's number 1. Number 2, you can literally go anywhere in this building except right directly in front of this speaker. Literally, I don't care where you go, but just not right here. Okay. And you can tell these people that until you're blue in the face. And what do? The first thing they do is go stand in front of the speaker. And the second thing they do is put that microphone up their ass or wave it around like they're a magic wand. Like, that's the example of what I'm talking about. Like, you can plan all of this out. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. So what is your reaction? That tells everything. Your reaction to that tells everything about how you've prepared yourself for the situation.
Yep.
I turned down the treble.
That's one way to go about it. Yeah,
that's what I did. Turn down the treble, it goes away.
You know what I thought about, and I know other people probably already do this, but I was thinking, why not take a little bit of tape with you and just put a little piece of tape on the floor and say, you see that piece of tape? I need you to stand right there.
The guy holds the microphone down by his crotch. He's 8 feet tall and he's talking and he's nervous as hell. And he's got his hands so tight around the base of my microphone that his bones aren't letting the signal pass through to my mic. That's the problem, because he's holding it that tight. The signal's not passing through. That's what happens. A lot of these guys, my mic, it's a Sennheiser, it's failing. It's because they're holding it so damn tight, and they're scared. And it's down below. Now you have to crank it up to 10 because you only have the mic 2. Right?
I'm going to offer a solution to somebody who deals with that in the next time. Take a mic stand with you and put the damn mic on a mic stand and put it right in front of their face and be done with it.
Look at you. I like that. That's really cool. Great idea. Mic stand for your toasts. All right.
We went way over tonight, but Nick, thanks for sticking around with us, man. You're a trooper, bro.
No,
you're on West Coast. You're on West Coast time, so it's just getting close to dinner for you, probably.
Yeah. I'm about to go. I decided not to cook tonight. We're just going to go DoorDash or something.
Nice. Greggy, you want to close us out tonight? I feel like I do it a lot. I'd rather turn it over to you and let you do it tonight. I've been running my chops. Hopefully people got something out of it. I'm not trying to be a dick to anybody. I just believe that there's a better way, and we can help people understand and learn those better ways.
Yeah. Look, it's really educating entertainers. That's what we try to do here, and that's what we try to help people out. Maybe they learn a thing or two from this. So Nick, once again, it's Tortoise and the Bear, right? Tortoise, Tortoise. There it is.
Yes, that's exactly right.
AND the Bear. So you spell it out, tortoiseandthebear.com. Nick's giving away the free 30-minute project review plus a comprehensive 4-point business tune-up assessment for the people? Is that what
Yep.
you've offered out?
Right, yeah.
Or I've probably given away more than I should. I don't know. But no, Nick's a great guy and he can help you out with this. So we want to thank Nick Elliott from Tortoise and the Bear for coming out. Also, please don't forget, subscribe to us, share, like, comment, especially if you're one of our live studio audience members and you're watching or listening live on Facebook or YouTube, or you're watching it on the replays there, or watching it on the replays of Spotify, your favorite podcast network, Spotify, Anchor, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. So
yeah, definitely one quick thing, Greg. Definitely, if you do watch it later or listen to it later, feel free to comment still, because we still monitor that stuff. So if you watch it a replay or you listen to it on the podcast and you have a question for one of us or a comment, or if you would just want to tell me, dude, you need to calm down a little bit, like literally whatever you want to say, you're welcome to do it. And we do monitor that stuff.
Right. You can say things like, Siri, play In the Queue podcast, or Alexa, play In the Queue podcast, or Hey Google, play In the Queue podcast. Things like that. And I heard the phones going off. But really, it's a way it can be found. It's funny, we can be found all over these places on Amazon and all of these different podcasts. As my phone talks to me and yells at me and starts playing it. Yeah, please, and all the help and the people that come and watch, and it's a religious thing. And the comments that Dave and I get, our email, hello@inthequeupodcast.com is another way to get in touch with us. If you want to become a guest, if you want to learn more about a previous guest that we've had, if you want to get the hook up with Nick and his company, or just have some ideas or have some problems that any of us can share with you, please reach out and touch us through the internet. It's a really close place, no matter where you live in this world. So with that being said, my name is DJ Greggy C. You can find me on all the local social media networks that way. And also David Hanscom, DAVIDHANSCOM. You can find him on all the social media networks. And Nick the Bear Elliott, who runs Tortoise and the Bear. Thank you for being on. What is OBM?
Online Business Manager.
Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. Thought it was open bowel movement, but you've explained it better.
Oh, man. Sorry.
Sorry.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sorry. I had to make Nick laugh. I would, the way Nick and I would do business, Nick would have this get so serious and so rough, and then I would pop out with something so crazy and make Nick giggle, and we would have the funniest times. That way, I was the yang to his yin.
You're usually wearing a funny hat or two.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the fun. Well, actually, here's a side case in point. You spoke about The Rock, correct there, David?
Yeah.
Nick, you came and you did the WWF gig with me, did you not?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, we did the gig where The Rock, I think The Rock and Stone Cold faced off for the first time.
Yeah.
And he beat The Rock then, because Stone Cold stood within feet of us drinking two-fisted beers for 4 hours all night long, talking to every guest. That was really friends and family of all of the wrestlers, because it was
I haven't thought about that in years.
It was closed to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick was there with me for that many moons ago. So it was fun. I wanted to mention that before we go. But with that being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for stopping by, and we'll hopefully see you next week if we don't take another 2-week vacation.
Yeah, let's try not to do that. Y'all have a good night.
Take care. Good night, guys.
Thanks, guys.